To be omniscient means to know everything. To know everything. Now, I think normally when we talk about someone knowing everything, we usually think of it in a negative way. We say that so-and-so is a big head or is a know-it-all, and it's very often in a negative context that we say that. Just looking at the notes and preparing them for today, I was reminded of someone that I knew 20-odd years ago, and he really fitted into that category. And there's one story that even now makes me smile. And it was a particular time when I was in a group of people. This man was there, and someone came past with a dog. And he went up to the person, started talking to them, and went to stroke the dog. And the person said, "Oh, don't, go by the dog. He bites people. He's got a little bit of an edge to him." And this person I'm talking about, in front of everyone, he said, "Oh, don't worry about that. I know all about dogs." He said, "Oh, I can handle dogs. No problem to me." He said, no issue at all. I know all about dogs." And he bent down to the dog. The dog bit him. And, it was so funny because it was just the way he was. He couldn't be told, and he knew everything, and he got bitten by the dog. But when we talk about God knowing everything, He actually does. It's not in a negative way that we think of a know-it-all or a big head or a person like that. God truly does know everything, and only God is omniscient. Hence the incommunicable attribute. It sets him apart from man. He knows all things at all times, and his omniscience is perfect in past, present, and future. So when we say that God is omniscient, that God knows everything, He really does. Past, present, and future, perfect understanding and perfect knowledge. But what does that mean for us? Because theology, apart from being a subject that very often causes people to shy away from, theology shouldn't just be about head knowledge. It should be about something that we can actually, practically apply in our lives. So what does it mean to us when we talk about the omniscient nature of God? Well, first of all, it means that His knowledge is complete. His knowledge is complete. God's knowledge is absolute and unacquired. He has never had to learn anything. He didn't have to go to school. He didn't have to study. He didn't have to follow the route that we have to accumulate knowledge for ourselves. God, because He's God, has always known everything. There is no room for development. Now, if you're like me, you find that as you get older, you change on things, your views change on things, because your understanding of the world grows and increases, and your knowledge increases, and you see things differently to how you did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, sometimes 5 minutes ago, because we now have more knowledge about that situation, and therefore we see it differently. But because God is omniscient, His knowledge is complete. He doesn't change. He doesn't reevaluate. He doesn't have to adapt. His knowledge is complete. And there's no room for development, as we've said. Psalm 147 tells us, "Great is the Lord and mighty in power. His understanding has no limit. Before a word is on my tongue," Psalm 139, "you know it completely, O Lord." And Job 21, "Can anyone teach knowledge to God?" All the knowledge in the world in which we live combined is just a drop in the ocean compared to the knowledge of God. Mentioned a story about 20 years ago, about the same time. I had a friend in Canada who was someone when I met here involved in Christian work. He went back to Canada. We wrote to each other the days before emails and the internet. And we used to write to each other, and every time I got a letter from him, he used to put on the envelope just before my name, Doctor or Professor or letters after my name. And I used to say to Debbie, the postman must think I'm really intelligent because I get these letters to Doctor, Professor, and all these